Good morning, Sunnyvale. Happy Friday. Things look like they're working this morning, always a good thing. We'll get started in just a moment. Welcome. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Labor Day weekend. Good morning. Good morning, Sunnyvale. Happy Friday. Welcome to my weekly virtual office hours. Welcome to September. Welcome to the beginning of Labor Day weekend. Hope you have good plans. This week's early artwork is actually a utility box mural from San Jose. So I visited San Jose last weekend, and this is a fireman who was basically, it's right next to one of the fire stations on Market Avenue in San Jose. And so this is a depiction of firemen fighting fires on all sides of the utility box. I thought it was actually a really great mural to be right next to a fire station. So, we'll see as we continue to add more murals to our city, what different mural locations there are. The 16 murals for the current phase 2 of our great box cover-up for our utility boxes. They're about complete. And then phase 3 is actually working with some of the high schools, and then I think middle schools and elementary schools to add murals. But I thought this was a good picture of colors and everything else, and so happy to share it with everyone. Let me go ahead and go to our normal background. Let's go ahead and get started. Good morning. I'm Sunnyvale Mayor Larry Klein. Thank you for joining me again this week. It's been another very busy week. This is the 175th installment of my weekly virtual office hours. Hope everyone's doing well, staying healthy, enjoying the end of your summer. And we've now reached 1,264 days since the March 16, 2020 county health order started the shelter in place in an attempt to slow the spread of COVID-19. Over 3 years ago, I converted my weekly coffee shop office hours into these weekly live stream addresses. And, people continue to say they enjoy joining me each week, whether or not they're watching live or watching time delayed by days, sometimes weeks later. I'll get comments on videos I posted, but people really say they like to hear directly from their mayor each week on what's happening within the city, what's upcoming as far as events has occurred, and then the biggest thing is being able to answer some of your questions. So for people that have a question, you're always free to reach out. You can either email me at council@larryklein.com with your question. You can add it to the chat comments, and I'll get to it this week or the following weeks, depending upon how quickly I can notice it. But thanks for allowing me to continue to represent you and work for Sunnyvale. Days like today, I'll do this 45-minute live stream address, and then I'll be meeting people in person on Murphy Avenue at Bean Scene. So also, if you want to reserve a 15-minute or 30-minute time slot, just email me at the same email, council@larryklein.com, and we can figure out a time that is mutually beneficial for both of us. Let's go ahead and get started and talk about what's happened to the federal, state, county, and city level over the last few weeks. 2 weekends ago was a busy weekend. I went to several Independence Day celebrations in Sunnyvale, as well as a big parade in Fremont, and you know, it's great to celebrate with our Indo-American community, and you know, it's always a welcome sight to see those traditions brought to the United States, and you know, see the community, you know, being welcomed into that community. So happy to you know, talk to and meet with many of the families here in Sunnyvale that have brought their traditions with them. And then Saturday evening, Old Greenwood Barbecue at Sunken Gardens had a Maui fundraiser, and there's been multiple fundraisers and ways to give back. You know, the Public Safety Officers Association was working with UFC gyms on Wolf Avenue, Wolf Road, to basically collect supplies and collect donations for the Maui victims. But you know, Old Greenwood gave a portion of all their proceeds for the evening to, and they had brought in actually a Sunnyvale-based Hawaiian band to add some music for the evening, but giving the proceeds, percentage of proceeds for the evening to the Maui victims. And it's just, you know, to see what the wildfires have done there is just incredible, and really makes you look back and see what we should be doing to prepare ourselves. And so we'll be talking about CERT preparation that's starting next week a little bit later. And then last Monday, and you know, the early part of this week, we actually had some weird weather as we got the edges of Hurricane Hillary, and then just, I'll say, some unseasonably odd rain and humidity that we normally don't see around here. Last Tuesday evening, I was at Fremont Union High School District trustee meeting to hear about how they're moving to trustee districts. So I just want to thank the trustees for deciding to make that move to trustee area elections. You know, the CVRA laws are pretty clear that, you know, they could have been sued at most likely any time from a representational standpoint. You know, our city council decided to make that move to districts back in September of 2018. We ended up getting sued a few months later to go a little bit faster, but I think, you know, ultimately it's given us the most diverse council that we've ever had from a city standpoint, and happy to be, you know, part of that process as far as that's concerned. But I was there to give a little testimony and just encourage a very a very big outreach as far as when they're trying to get feedback from all the different residents in the district on where they think, you know, the different areas of interest and community, trying to figure out where the boundary line should go between the 5 districts that they'll be defining for the Fremont Union High School District. And then last Wednesday, we had a ribbon cutting at Inspire Medical. And so this is a new medical office at the corner of Matilda and El Camino, 333 West El Camino. It's actually, you know, so it was expanding kind of primary medical care to underserved communities. And one of the things that they're focusing on is language services. You know, I think that's one of the big barriers for a lot of communities. So making sure that they have adequate language capabilities for all the different residents. And so that's one of their specialties, but providing that at a local location is just fantastic. And then Wednesday evening was the final summer music series on Murphy Avenue. So we ended up our 24th season, and, you know, city staff was there, council was there, staffing the beer and wine booth, collecting some tips for a nonprofit. We ended up this year donating to Friends of the Sunnyvale Library. But you know, it was great to be out there meeting people, hearing the music, seeing all the dance and everything that a lot of happy people enjoy our summer music series every year, and looking forward to next year's 25th season. And then as far as last Thursday, CDC and FDA officials spoke on the government's preparations for fall and winter virus season. You know, COVID-19 Vaccines have been tweaked a little bit, and they are now expected to land in drugstores and clinics sometime mid to late September. And so definitely something to think about as we enter cold and flu season. And then Friday evening, we actually had our third and final Sunset movie series. This time it was Light Year at Washington Park. And so it was good to see a lot of families out, and, it'd been kind of a break after the first week of school, or first week and a half of school for many of the students, but good to see families out and, having fun, and just that community that's built. And we'll talk about, the next year's movie series, Sunset movie series, a little bit when questions. Last Saturday was the final Jazz and Beyond for the season, so kind of tied to our summer music series. But Jazz and Beyond is a little bit different. It's table set up for people to have dinner, but at different locations. So you can order from the menus of all the different restaurants along Murphy Avenue, and so if you have people with different tastes and different kind of expectations on what they want, they can all order from different restaurants. It was amazing to talk to some of the residents that were there, ordering from like four or five different restaurants, and then sharing all the food. So choosing their favorites and bringing that community together was actually really good. But Eastside Funk was there. They're always a popular band, and a lot of people out dancing, and I think they really entertained the crowd. Good to see that band once again. And then last Sunday was Silicon Valley Pride Parade in San Jose. That's why I was in San Jose last weekend. June is Pride Month nationally. August is Silicon Valley Pride. And so it culminates in the big Pride Parade in San Jose. I and several other council members walked with Supervisor Lee. All the supervisors were there, a lot of San Jose council members, but they had a great final celebration at Plaza del Cesar Chavez. That's where the parade ends up. But lots of fun, lots, perfect weather. But good to see everybody, and happy to be part of those festivities. As far as this week is concerned, on Tuesday, council had a meeting, and we saw an appeal for building 18 condominiums located at Crescent Avenue. Ultimately, we decided to deny that appeal. But the project was actually good from a certain standpoint. It saved a historic home constructed back in 1927. So this was a chicken farm area. I think it was the Parrish family operated Parrish Egg Basket. It was an egg retail business at that site from the 1940s to I think the late 60s. So it was good to that the developer just didn't tear down the historic landmarks, but they saved one of the homes. They saved the historic home. There was a second home there, and the old, let's say, the area where they kept all the chickens behind, and that's going to be converted into 18 condominiums. But the residents brought up some important issues about street parking and safety. One of the good things about the new project is they're actually widening the street a little bit. There was some pinch points in there where it was actually a little bit difficult for cars to pass by, and they're kind of at least fixing some of the street as far as that project is concerned. But ultimately, the council approved that project, or basically denied the appeal of that project at the end of the day. And then we also appointed our new board and commissioners. So good from that standpoint to add a few new people that want to get back to the city. We do that on a quarterly basis, depending upon what open positions there are. And then on Wednesday morning of this week, we were at fire station number 5. We honored 8 officers who've been promoted over the last year. And so these individuals, proven themselves not only skilled professionals, but, basically have said they wanted to step up and take on additional leadership. We had deputy chiefs, we had lieutenant, multiple, captains, multiple new promotions as far as that's concerned. So it's good to see, that staff that's really dedicated to, making sure that our community's safe and wanting to take more of a leadership role from an organization. And so, I really thank them. And, we have a great public safety department. And it was good to see so many, officers there to honor and families that were there to honor those newly promoted officers. It was actually great to meet one of the families, one of the new lieutenants. His father was there. So he's the son of so his father retired from public safety back in 2004. And it was great to see, that kind of passing of the baton between generations. But good to see, how that family of public safety is really incredible within our city, and really attracts a lot of good officers from either transferring off from other organizations to be here, or getting out of college and picking Sunnyvale as the organization, as a public safety organization they want to be a part of. And then on Wednesday afternoon, I was at Sunnyvale Community Services on Kern Avenue to honor their volunteers. There was a little luau to thank for the hundreds of hours of volunteering that happened. So really amazing from that standpoint to attend that yearly celebration of all their volunteers. Yesterday morning, we actually had a years of service breakfast at the community center. So we had 178 city employees that were being honored for their service to the city. So it was, so it was their 5-year anniversary, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years of service. Just amazing. There were 21 people there that were recognized for 25 or 30 years of service. So how long they spent their entire career, some of them, with the city of Sunnyvale, and have worked in different departments, and just to really made a difference. It's that wealth of knowledge that is in that, real depth of experience that they bring with them each day, that's mentoring the new employees when they come on. So we're really, truly fortunate to have, such a big group of employees that make, working at the city of Sunnyvale, their career. And, from that standpoint, it's good to see, talk to new employees, talk to people, talk to employees that have been here for 5 years, that this is just a fantastic organization. And, it's really, I'm really blessed to be mayor for such a great organization that we have here in our city. And then last night, I was at Muwekma Park for a little celebration as far as some of our small businesses, our health-related businesses. So Yoga 6, that'll be opening up a yoga studio in downtown in the fall. They had a free outdoor class, and there were a few other small organizations, health food organizations, that were, giving away free samples and kind of, showing what they provide and how to live a healthier life. So, happy to join that celebration, meet a few people. Always good to support small business as far as that's concerned, especially Sunnyvale businesses, of course. As I said previously, I won't be covering weekly COVID numbers unless things change dramatically. I continue to read multiple articles about the increase in COVID numbers and what we're finding out from continuing to monitor the waste systems. Hospitalizations continue to tick upward, and there's just been a general statewide increase as far as that's concerned. Public health officials say that, it's really important to continue to take precautionary measures wherever you can, especially those people with underlying health conditions. Infection rates are not as bad as they were at this time last year, but that doesn't mean that they can't get worse. So, continue to be cautious, if you think if you think you've been exposed, or more importantly, from that standpoint, if you're not feeling well, immediately test so that you can prevent the spread as much as possible. I continue to do a lot of time advocating on our city staff, talking at the county level, at the state level, at the federal level, talking to some of our partners like, PG&E, Caltrans, trying to make sure that they're doing whatever they can for our city. Let me go ahead and announce some of the upcoming events. Of course, Monday is Labor Day, so city offices will be closed. So, if you have things to do with the city, try to do them today, or like at the library will be open Saturday and Sunday this weekend, but all the city offices will be closed on Monday. Lots of barbecues around the city this weekend, which, it's hope everyone will be finding kind of relaxing plans for the long weekend and kind of the last hurrah of summer. Hopefully you'll find a way to enjoy yourself. Next Thursday, September 7th, is our next CERT training class. So that will happen Thursday evenings. And if you're interested, we talked about being prepared. It'll be eight Thursdays and then a Saturday event in October. But it starts September 7th at 7 p.m. And if you haven't taken it, it's really a fantastic program. It also allows you to get more involved in the city from that standpoint. We really rely on our CERT volunteers for not just being prepared, but when there's additional, assistance needed, whether or not that's helping out, during COVID, or working on, from a certain standpoint, helping out on crosswalk issues. If there's a specific problem in a school, we're there to activate them and making sure that they're helping out in our communities. But CERT is CERT, of course, stands for Community Emergency Response Team, and it's and the whole class is free. So definitely consider that. The State of the City, of course, will be coming up at the about halfway through Saturday, September 23rd, from 9 until I think 1. So definitely speeches, tours of City Hall. So if you want to get an official tour of City Hall, come see that. And then we'll be also honoring our numerous community award winners. It's always good to celebrate all the people that have given back in our community. And then as far as upcoming council meetings, our next council meeting will be Tuesday, September 12th. We'll be looking at awarding a contract to look at planning for the Civic Center Phase 2, our main library. So that's our next step for the Civic Center. Our Civic Center Phase 1 was the new City Hall and ultimately the addition onto the Public Safety Building. Phase 2 is focusing on the new City Hall and whether or not, or the new library, and whether or not it's a new library or renovations of the old library, and a big addition onto the old library will be one of the decisions that need to be made. And so that's what that proposal, that planning will go off and do. Let's go ahead and get to our weekly questions. Kathleen asked, do you know what type of business will be going into Murphy's Law now that it's been sold? Yeah, I heard Murphy's Law. So Murphy's Law on Murphy Avenue actually opened in 1912, the same year that Sunnyvale was incorporated. But it's been sold. I heard that it'll still be a bar, but I think it's going to be more food centric. So there'll be more food options as far as that's concerned. I know they have, great barbecue brought in once a week or once every few weeks for that back patio. But ultimately, from a food standpoint, there's not a lot of options. So one of the things that I think the new owners are planning to do is make it, more food centric as far as that's concerned. Carrie asked, can the city do sunset movies in the fall as well? Since it gets dark earlier, more families could enjoy the event too. And we are usually blessed with warm evenings still into the fall. So yeah, thank you for that, Carrie. It was well timed. I talked to the head of Library and Recreational Resources just before they were actually doing their major debrief for the Sunset movie series. And yes, that was one of the things that she thought was a great idea. So taking that off and continuing that into September, also doing other parks. I think that's one of the big things that they'll be looking at for next year. So, more events, as well as kind of spreading it out a little bit more. Wendy asked, we've lived here since 1994, and over that time, I've noticed the care of our city trees is non-existent until one falls down in a storm. When will the funding be given to proactively trim trees before it becomes a hazard? Our street lost several trees over the last 2 years. Please provide funding to proactively keep our city trees healthy. So yeah, so Sunnyvale has about 37,000 trees, and the majority of the tree trimming is contracted by the city in the summer months. On average, trees are trimmed about every 7 years. And one of the things that we did, so one of the things I proposed from a council standpoint this year is, and council approved a budget modification to add 1.2 million additional tree trimming dollars to what happens over the next 2 years. So trying to catch up on some of the delays of tree trimming that happened during COVID, and I understand, you say that trees haven't been trimmed. On average, all the trees are trimmed every 7 years. And so, it is interesting when I talk to other council members in other cities, it's actually the responsibility of the property owners to trim the street trees in front of their home. In San Jose, street trees are maintained by the adjacent property owner. So they actually need to get a permit, and then they need to pay for that tree maintenance if they want their tree trimmed. For Sunnyvale, it's like we do it, it's an ongoing, backlog as we move around the city. And if you have a specific concern, definitely report it. The city arborist will come out and evaluate whether or not it needs immediate trimming. If you actually want, the tree trimmed there, and get it trimmed yourself, there are actually approved tree companies that are, basically qualified by the city arborist to do specific tree trimming. So if you have a specific tree concern that you want to expedite, if the city arborist doesn't think, it's added to the list of trees to be trimmed and you want to get it done sooner, you can go through that process and work with the Department of Public Works to find out what tree trimming companies you can contract with early. But of course, that's on your own dime. It's like we try to do big contracts to make sure that whole areas, whole streets, street after street neighborhoods are being trimmed every year. Ravi asked, I know Magic Bridge has a top zone, but are there other Sunnyvale playgrounds designed for our youngest ages? I love your restaurant reviews, but I wish there was a little Larry Klein who would go around each week and review a playground. So I'm still doing our restaurant reviews. EatSunnyvale.com is still very, very busy, but I don't have any plans to do any park reviews, although I visited Muwekma Park last night and I was just so impressed with how many kids were there, how many people, playing. There was the yoga group, but there were people playing volleyball, people were doing Frisbee. So it was really very active for our newest park. But lots of our different parks have tot lots designed for those kids 5 and under. So it's beyond Fair Oaks with the Magical Bridge Playground. There's Murphy, Sarah, Encinal, Fairwood, Orchard Gardens, Ortega, Washington, and Weiser Parks all have tot lots for those youngest residents. Kenneth asked, do you know what is going into the old Wendy's building on Matilda? So it's planned to be a Taco Bell. It's under renovations. You can kind of see the Wendy's front facade starting to take shape. Stephen asked, what is going into the old McDonald's on El Camino near Bernardo? That's planned to be an Indian takeout restaurant. renovations are all already underway. And I just recently found out that it's actually related to the Madras Cafe that's basically right in the backside of where that McDonald's is. So they're the Madras Cafe owners are looking for more of a fast takeout version of their restaurant. Jesse asked, we need a summary page of all the art box designs, much like you did with the Great Sunnyvale Food and Restaurant Tour. So if you go to larryklein.com, I actually added a mayor's art project page and kind of highlighting first, at least all the phase one, the 12 phase one utility box art locations and the 16 phase two, but that's all. That will be a landing page to kind of talk about more art within the city and what can be done and where you can find it, what walking tours available. Rosie asked, hi, Larry, we love all the dance nights on Wednesday on Murphy Avenue. Can you do something to extend them longer next year? So yeah, I talked to Mike Johnson. The Sunnyvale Downtown Association is looking to add additional days either earlier or later in the season next year for both the Wednesday night and the Saturday night music. You know, I think that's one of the best things that we have, you know, especially as we enter that 25th year. Gina asked, when can I get a tour of the new City Hall? That the best, you know, you can go in any day. It's open, you know, from 8:30 to 5 weekdays. But in kind of the best thing that you can do is take the elevator to the top and then kind of walk down the stairs. But you actually get official tours at the State of the City on Saturday, September 23rd. Hope to see lots of people there as far as that's concerned. Let me see if I had any new comments. Our friends from the Netherlands wondered if the slide at the Las Palmas Park area was open. I don't think so. I think they found additional problems with it. They listed the contracting group to have those water features at Las Palmas Park fixed, at least the interactive features. I don't think they've been fixed as far as that's concerned. And Rosemary, happy birthday. So anyway, hope you have a happy birthday. Let's go ahead and wrap up. Thank you for joining me again this week. You know, I'm always interested, you know, for what new issues come up. You know, we do live in interesting times. But, you know, no matter what challenges we face them together. You know, I'm proud of Sunnyvale and how our residents have responded to the challenges over the last few years. You know, I'm thankful for all the good that happens in our community. You know, we have lots of people that are generous and show their kindness every day. You know, your actions and your attitude really do make a difference. You know, we will emerge from this as a stronger community, as a happier community. We're in this together. We will get through this together. Thanks for listening. Have a great long weekend and enjoy the end of your summer. Take care. Goodbye.